Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Mary and here we talk all things houseplants with a bit more emphasis on Hoyas. As you can see, I am in a very new surrounding, and this is because I have recently changed to a new flat. So from now on you will be seeing this backdrop. In general, for those who have been following my channel, know that I may not be the most punctual when it comes to recording. Nevertheless, because I'm a woman of my word, I have made a video a while ago, almost 11 months ago actually, about PAFCAL. I will be posting a link for those who want to check the video, and today I think it's long overdue that we make an update about PAFCAL and how are my plants, and more particularly my Hoyas, doing in PAFCAL as a medium. So overall, I will not be going through what PAFCAL is and the uses and all this. You can check the previous video, which is quite thorough in regards to what is PAFCAL, how we can use it, the R&D behind it, and all these details. Today it's almost 11 months after I started using PAFCAL, so close to a year, and truth to be told, I have mixed feelings about it. So today I will be showing you how some of the plants have reacted, let's say, after I changed medium and I switched them to PAFCAL. In general, I have started using PAFCAL with a wick system in a self-watering pot, and some plants have been going okay, some plants have been going not so much, but let's go through all the details. So let me start with my current pride and joy, which is a relatively new acquisition, and this is my Hoya multiflora. As you can see, it's full of buds and full of flowers, and actually multiflora is famous for that. So if you can get your hands in one, it will be a prolific bloomer and a very fast growing plant, at least for me. So as you can see, I have moved it to PAFCAL, and I have done this since I first acquired the plant, which was around 4 months ago. All in all, it has been growing like crazy for me, and again I have it in a self-watering pot with a wick system, and most of the Hoyas that I have in PAFCAL, at least in the beginning, in the first, let's say, 6 months, I used to have them in transparent containers because I wanted to check how the roots are growing, the root system in general, and you know, how they react, let's say, to this medium. So for this one, let me show you. I'm not sure what you can see, guys, but it has a very good root system here. Sorry, this is dripping. So you can see that the roots are growing nicely in the medium. And in general, when I got it, it was up to here, like that high, and now I have all this new growth, and the roots are reacting, are growing like crazy. One of the drawbacks of PAFCAL, it is an organic medium after all, but it is supposed not to be gathering any fungus gnats or other pests. That is actually true. To be honest, I don't have any fungus gnats at the moment, and for quite some time, which is a huge plus. And the only problem, if I can say that, is that I can see a lot of mineral built up on the surface of PAFCAL. So again, I'm using, actually let me use another plant, another Hoya. So this is my Parasitica variegated. I had moved to PAFCAL this since when I first got it, which was probably 8-9 months ago. This one, when I first got it, it had a root mealy, it was in a very bad shape, and to be honest, it hasn't grown that much. I mean, it had like a new vine here, but it was all white leaves, so eventually they fell off. But bottom line about PAFCAL, you can see here all these brown spots, let's say, which are mineral buildup. So I do fertilize, you see, it's right here. I do fertilize my Hoyas with every watering, and that means, although I do use distilled water, that there are a few substances and minerals that may build up. The good thing is that this I can only see on the surface, so if you do use PAFCAL and you have this, I don't think it is affecting the plant. But if you do have this, a very easy solution is to just remove the top layer of PAFCAL and then boil it and reuse it in another plant or whatever, and maybe replace with new PAFCAL. So far I don't have any issues with that. I mean, okay, besides the aesthetically unpleasing, let's say, surface, no other issues. Plus I do try to from time to time to flush the plant, so when this happens lots of this stuff is removed, although it is quite sticky, to be honest. It's similar to pond, but here is a bit worse, at least visually, because PAFCAL is black. Technically it's very dark brown, so you can see all the mineral buildup. I would say that for unrooted plants I have started using it quite recently, and a good example is my sunrise here, which I have a huge sunrise that I got as a mother plant, and I was thinking that, okay, if I want to experiment, let's do something with the well-established plants, so even if I lose the cuttings I don't really care. Nevertheless, I cut the cuttings and I immediately put them in PAFCAL here, and as you can see I have lots of new growth. Out of all the cuttings I put in, I had 2 that I lost, and all the rest are growing nicely. So in that aspect I think that I may continue use PAFCAL for other Hoyas as well. Just, you know, take a cutting and just put it straight in PAFCAL and see how it goes. If I only have cuttings and I don't have another plant that I can, let's say, rescue if the cuttings die, in that aspect I'm not so sure if I would actually use PAFCAL. That said, so far it goes quite okay. The most interesting thing, actually 2 things that I want to highlight. One is that in my previous video I was saying that, you know, PAFCAL is super expensive. It still is. Nothing has changed in that aspect. So I would probably not be using it mixed with any other mediums. That has changed slightly. So for example, my obovata here, which I got maybe 4 months ago, 3 months ago, around that time, and it only had these 2 leaves. All this is new growth, as you can see here. This, when I got it, it was in literally soil, and it was the only like 2-leaf cutting, so I could either, like, let's say, leave it in soil, which was a no for me, or transfer it to another medium. For this particular Hoya, and not only for this but for quite a few others that when I acquired they came in soil or in a medium or in a mix that I could not easily remove, so I can move to pond, for example, that it's my go-to medium, I decided to make a combination of chunky mix plus PAFCAL just to see how it goes. So this was kind of an experiment. The plant has grown quite nice, and I have realized that for specific plants that may like organic mixes, but nothing too chunky or nothing too, they don't want to go dry, for example, or too dry, but they don't like to be very wet either, this is a good alternative. So far my obovata grows nicely, as you can see, and this I have, by the way, in, again, self-watering pot, as you can see here. But my biggest experiment was this clemensiorum. So when I first got it, I got actually two. Let me bring down the other one. So both were in this very chunky soil including mix. And you may think that this is in a self-watering pot. In reality it's not. If I overwater, this thing drops the leaves like crazy. They yellow and they drop like that. So for this one I got it same time when I got this one, or maybe with like 2 weeks difference, a couple of months ago. So what I decided to do is I left this as is, and okay, these are new leaves as you can see, and I have another one here also forming, but because I'm usually an overwaterer, and when a medium has soil, when it comes to clemensiorum, this is not a good combination. I've decided for my second cutting to just put it in again the same or similar mix, like chunky mix, including PAFCAL. So I have some cocoa husk, cocoa fiber, some perlite and PAFCAL in this one, and you see it's like, it's not self-watering or anything. I just water when it's dry, and this one seems to be working quite nicely. I have in the past killed quite a few clemensiorums. It's one of the Hoyas that I just struggle to keep, and so far I think that this kind of mix is the best, at least for me. Nevertheless, I would not normally do this. I would still prefer to go full-on organic mix like a PAFCAL, or full-on organic mix like a chunky mix, cocoa husk, cocoa fiber, etc, etc. I would not just do this in particular. This is the only exception, I would say. And I did have a few plants as well, a few Hoyas that I was also struggling to keep for other reasons, like my cutis-porcelana that I got a few years back and I imported from the Philippines. I was struggling so much with this plant. I had it in pot, she didn't like it. I had it in organic mix, she didn't like it. I took as many cuttings as I could, and eventually I decided, okay, I'm gonna move it to PAFCAL to see how it goes. And let me show you right now the status. So this is how she's growing. You see all this new growth. I know I need to trace a little bit better, but still. And I do have it again in a transparent container, so I can actually check the roots, and I can see the root system inside, at least from this side. Let me, and this, we have some roots as well. I'm not sure if you can see. Let me try to move for you. And it grows quite nicely. That said, I don't believe that PAFCAL is a cure-all medium. It does work for specific Hoyas, at least for me, and for easy Hoyas, easy growers, I would say like just PAFCAL is, yes, it's super easy. I have right now, I would say more than 20 Hoyas in PAFCAL or PAFCAL mix, maybe 30, I'm not sure, and they all grow quite nicely. So for easy Hoyas like the Publicalix, like the multiflora, like Mathilde, like all these that are relatively easy to maintain and not very fuzzy, pure PAFCAL, even if you have cuttings, just cuttings, you can easily do it. It's good to always have a transparent container to check on the roots, but all in all it is quite okay. That said, PAFCAL is not a cure-all medium. And I have a very good example here with, rest in peace, my Hoya linearis. So this is what's left from my linearis. I got originally this plant in a relatively good shape. It's not that it was just one cutting or whatever. I ended up with just one cutting just because of my neglect, to be honest. And bottom line is that, okay, I was thinking maybe I could save it if I put it in PAFCAL, because linearis in general likes to be watered regularly, and I thought that, okay, maybe if I put it like that it would be okay, it would work, or I could, save here. Apparently, I did not. So that's the situation here. It has been in PAFCAL for a while. I have tried every single medium with this Hoya. It didn't work for me. PAFCAL was the last solution. Again, did not work. So I would say that, if you have a plant that is sick or that has some issues or whatever, do not believe that PAFCAL might save it. If you are more confident with any other medium, chunky mix, pon, leca, whatever, use the medium you are more comfortable in rather than PAFCAL. The other good thing is that indeed I have reused some of the PAFCAL. So if you boil it, if you take out a plant like this one, for example, I just kept for the video for you guys to see, the situation here. I will take out the PAFCAL and I will boil it exactly as you would boil leca or pon or whatever. Exactly the same you can do with PAFCAL, and then you can easily reuse it. When you do this, you also get rid of the minerals, which is a good thing. So you will see that the water will become dark brown and you will have some residue at the bottom and on top, so you can then use it from scratch. It's quite easy. Other than that, I would say that I'm happy with PAFCAL, and this is one of the reasons I have moved quite a few of my Hoyas, especially when you get Hoyas in a mix that it's very tight. One good example is soil. Another example is sphagnum moss. If the sphagnum moss and the roots are intertwined and it's very hard to remove. If this is the case, you can remove as much as you think that you can remove without hurting the root system too much, and then put it in PAFCAL. Whenever I have any organic mediums that I get new Hoyas too, and I find that I struggle to remove the medium and put it in, a self-watering pot with the medium of my choice, I always use PAFCAL, and so far it has been working. I'm not sure if I have any. Okay. This, for example, my Limoniaca was one of the cases. So I put it in PAFCAL, again self-watering pot, grows nicely. Just a single cutting used to be. Now I have all this new growth. One thing that I was quite surprised, and for those who follow the channel know that I'm notorious in killing lacunosas in general, or lacunosas. I have one at my office which is going quite okay, and I have her in pon, but besides that, me and lacunosas are not in the best terms, with the exception of this black margin. So I got this as a very small cutting, maybe 1 year ago, I cannot recall, and I had it in pon initially, but eventually I realized that it's not working in pon, so I decided to switch to PAFCAL, and you see I have all this new growth now. Again, this is just one single cutting, one single stem. So I think that some of my Hoyas that I personally find hard, PAFCAL can work. Again, clemensiorum being one of them, and my lacunosa black margin being another one. overall, I would say that my experience with PAFCAL is okay. I do like it 100% more than LECA. They're both equally lightweight. PAFCAL is even more lightweight. But if you have the luxury, let's say, you have mother plants that you can take cuttings off, I would say start experimenting with PAFCAL. A very, very good thing is that in case you have any root mealybugs, you can really spot them easily in PAFCAL because it's so dark, almost black, and the mealybugs are white. So in case you have, this happened in my nummularioides. So when I first saw that it was not growing, I was like, okay, something may be wrong. I checked the plant and indeed it had mealybugs. So it was so easy because I just took it out of the container like that. I checked the pot inside and I saw the white spots. So immediately I knew, this is root mealybugs for sure. So I would say, yes, it's not bad. It's not bad. Right now I have been transferring quite a few, and if I do water cuttings, I always, when I transfer, I put them in pon. But when I have Hoyas that are in organic mix from the supplier, or I have a mother plant and I want to make some new cuttings, or I want to make sure, I have tried every other medium and I see that it's not working for this Hoya and I want to have a last resort, then for sure I'm using PAFCAL. It is expensive, this remains, but I think it may worth it after all. So guys, let me know, have you tried PAFCAL at all? And if so, what is your experience with that? I would be more than happy to get some feedback because it's not so common for people who have Hoyas to put them in PAFCAL. So I am really interested to see what is your experience with that. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for joining today, and I will be seeing you soon, and this is a promise. Bye bye.